Isn't it crazy that 50 years later that nobody has quite come close to emulating the brilliance of Left 4 Dead? For an industry that's always so obsessed with one-upping itself, it's so strange that Left 4 Dead remains at the very top of its niche, and honestly, it's hard to see anything topping it still. When Turtle Rock Studios was piecing together the meat of Left 4 Dead, it's unlikely the team thought that it was onto something so hot that it would still be popular 14 years later and spawn a host of similar titles. The 4-player zombie shooter has a formula so simple that it's almost too simple not to reproduce, and that's what plenty of developers have done with these games like Left 4 Dead to mixed effect. Whether it's a complete copy-paste job or something a little more subtle or thematically similar, these 10 games will satiate your need for more Left 4 Dead should you ever decide to finally set aside the popular horde shooter. If you're excited for Left 4 Dead 3 to drop sometime in 2033, slap like. Deep Rock Galactic. Space dwarves. Destructible environments. Hordes of extraterrestrial beasts looking to tear you limb from limb. This certainly sounds like a good time to us, and we haven't even told you about the procedurally generated caves and up to 4-player co-op. Deep Rock Galactic is way more than Left 4 Dead in space. Players select from 4 unique classes and navigate winding caves, choosing how they'll get to their objective. A carefully carved out path may be the logical route, but who's to say drilling right to the bottom doesn't have its own merits? Using an assortment of delightfully destructive weapons, players will mow through alien threats on their way to their goal, each one deadlier and uglier than the last. Rock and stone, y'all. Rock and stone. Strange Brigade. What awaits in the depths of Egypt's most secret tombs? Only death and despair, of course. In Strange Brigade, you'll set out to ignore everything we've learned about mummies and tombs to explore ruins and find hidden treasures. With those treasures though comes a price, and you and up to 4 friends will quickly find that the protectors of Egypt are nothing to scoff at. As the titular brigade, players will need to work together to solve puzzles, battle malevolent forces of ancient Egypt, and quell the wrath of Sateki, the Witch Queen. If you've played anything from Rebellion's most recent third-person shooter releases, then Strange Brigade should feel very similar and welcoming. It's also not exactly been a massive success, so the game's pretty cheap if you want to pick it up with some friends these days. EARTHFALL. When an extraterrestrial threat makes contact on Earth, there's only one thing to do. Gear up, gather some friends, and prepare for one hell of a fight. EARTHFALL pits you against an onslaught of aliens big and small, and you'll have to work together to survive. Luckily, you have some help from advanced firearms and constructible defences to keep that threat at bay. From its enemy design to an assortment of weapons, EARTHFALL is a slightly different take on the 4-player co-op model, popularised by Left 4 Dead, delivering heart-pounding action through procedurally generated alien hordes, though it must be said that it wasn't a great success. It was, naff, really. WARHAMMER, Vermintide 2. Prepare for mayhem, mayflies, as you and 3 other friends venture into Warhammer's fantasy battles world to take on hordes of Skaven in Vermintide 2. 5 playable characters allow you to customize the experience and either take the horde head on with a powerful blade or hide in the back and volley off arrows and magic. Vermintide 2 is packed with content, different weapons to tinker with and skills to try out. Build your perfect hero and cut through swarms of the rat-like foe to salvage the war-torn lands and save the Empire from being completely eradicated. The overall experience is like Left 4 Dead, just set in a fantasy world with a ton more customization. Killing Floor 2. With a name like Killing Floor 2, it's pretty easy to guess what you'll be doing a lot of during your time in Tripwise 6-player co-op experience. If you quite love the chaos brought by an oncoming zombie horde, you'll love cutting through wave after wave of Killing Floor 2's Zeds, squishy meat sacks right before the exploding, just like me when you're mom. Select a perk, grab a weapon, and head out into the fray of an outbreak that has spread across Europe. Luckily, the cure is bullets, blades, and blunt objects. Killing Floor 2 is bloody and a fantastic exercise in teamwork, as only the most organised fighters survive. The game also lets players see things through the eyes of a Zed in a 12-player competitive survival mode. World War Z. Set in the same universe as the 2013 film starring Brad Pitt, World War Z actually does a good job of capturing the helplessness of living in a zombie apocalypse. The runners are everywhere, flooding in like a plague and blocking your global expedition in this undead world. Like Left 4 Dead, it seems like the zombies never stop, and that's because there are so many of them. Luckily, you're not alone and your arsenal includes heavy firepower and unique skills that help combat the rush of flesh-hungry fiends. Just like in the movie, zombies move in massive groups, which is horrifying and intimidating, but makes for some of the game's coolest and tensest moments. Hey, is it crazy to suggest that this is better than the movie? Let us know down below, but at least nobody in the game basically fillets a can of Pepsi in the worst bit of product placement we've ever seen. Zombie Army 4. What started as a spin-off to Rebellion's Sniper Elite blossomed into a full-fledged story about Nazis, zombies, and their relationship with Allied bullets. The fourth entry in the Zombie Army series pulls out all the stops, so it's good that you and 4 friends can gang up on the zombie horde. Save for the occasional zombie shark leaping out of the water, there are no real surprises in the fourth installment. There are zombies, you have weapons, and somewhere a supernatural Hitler is waiting to meet the business end of your Thompson. Though, sadly, there's no shooting him in the nuts in super slow motion in this one. Prudes. Zombie Army 4 is fun, brutal, and very heavy on the undead, much like Left 4 Dead. Expect your screen to fill up quickly with shamblers, runners, and all manner of zombies. GTFO. You and 3 friends are prisoners dropped into a decaying subterranean facility, tasked with performing a series of expeditions by the mysterious warden. What could possibly go wrong? Actually, things would go pretty smoothly if not for the hibernating nightmares infesting inside the complex, just waiting for the slightest sound to wake them up. Having to battle these monstrosities is inevitable, but it's how you prepare for the assault that determines whether you'll live or die. That's, and if you're playing with competent players. GTFO is a literal fight for survival, as you'll have to work to unload clip after clip into the sleepy threat until your work order is fulfilled and you're cleared to return topside. The biggest mystery is what GTFO stands for. Let me just Google that quickly. Oh no, this will not do at all. Not on our Christian gaming channel. No More Room in Hell. Kudos to the No More Room in Hell team for choosing a name that so perfectly fits a game about battling back zombie hordes. To a degree, it seemed like they wanted to go for a multiplayer game set in the Of the Dead universe, but had to settle on the reference to the iconic quote Ken 4 spoke in Dawn of the Dead. The gameplay may look like a cheaper version of Left 4 Dead, but No More Room in Hell ups the co-op player count to 8, adds dynamic objectives, removes the HUD, and features a survival mode. This zombification of Half-Life 2 also adds a unique infection mechanic, where players must decide whether to let their team know they've been infected, or stick it out and hope a cure pops up somewhere. And the best part, No More Room in Hell is free, so it's difficult not to recommend it to Left 4 Dead fans. There's even a sequel due out sometime soonish, maybe probably. Back 4 Blood. Back 4 Blood is the game most like Left 4 Dead on this list for a very good reason. Some of the development team that gave us the zombie shooter brought this one to life too. It's quite evident in how similar the two games play, but Back 4 Blood does bring some new features to the table. First, you're no longer facing off against typical zombies. They're called the Ridden, and the special versions of them are brutish to say the least. Second, there's a card system that both provides you with perks and completely ruins your match with corruptions that work in the enemy's favour. Otherwise, Back 4 Blood is definitely very close to Left 4 Dead in style and substance, but that's far from a bad thing when the source material is as good and revered as it is, even though Back 4 Blood never really gets close to being as good. It's such a shame that it doesn't have an ounce of the character or attention to detail, but I guess that's the biggest compliment you can give Left 4 Dead all these years later. And there you have it, that is our list of games like Left 4 Dead. As ever, we pass the question over to you. Have you played any of these games? Are there any you feel that we missed out in the list? Sign off in the comments down below and let us know. As ever, if you enjoyed the video, please remember to give it a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future content coming to the channel. Check the social media on screen now as well, and also check out the website culturesvultures.com for the full written version of this article and many, many more. Hopefully, between all of that, we'll catch you in the next one, but until then, cool.